Welcome back to the channel, folks. I am Matt. Hope you're all doing well. Today, we're going to check out the Luxe Q from Vaporesso. This is a 1000 milliamp hour pod system that has mesh pods and 2 steps of adjustable airflow. Let's go ahead and dive into it. This is what your packaging is going to look like. So inside, you will have some paperwork that includes some warranty info, counterfeit info, a little manual, and more counterfeit info. I think they accidentally included this card twice. Then you do get your device with 1 pod pre-installed. You get a second pod and a USB-C cable. So here is the device, 1000 milliamp hour battery in this thing, made out of what feels like zinc alloy. You got a zinc alloy frame, chrome finish on this one. And then you have these, kind of rubberized leather panels. Don't think it's real leather, but it's got a rubbery leather feeling to it, if that makes sense. Feels pretty good, actually. You got a light indicator right there. On that side, you do have a USB-C port, 1 amp charging in this thing. It takes about an hour to charge up. Airflow inlet right there. And then on that side, even though it's got the 2 indentations, there is no airflow inlet. It says Luxe Q up top there, Vaporesso right there. Let's go ahead and pull our pod out. And you're going to want to take this protective sticker off. So there's what the inside of the device looks like. You got 2 contacts, a little draw activation tube, and then you can see the airflow that comes in right on that one side, but not on the other. So this pod that's pre-installed is the 1.2 ohm mesh. All right, so you got these little holes right here, and that is where the little draw activation tube goes inside, I believe. And then airflow inlets on both ends. And depending on which way you put this in, the airflow will be looser or tighter. So you see that little cutout or indentation right there. If that is away from the airflow hole right there, so you take that and put it away from that airflow hole, you're going to have a tighter draw. If you move it towards the airflow hole, you're going to have a looser draw. And these are a vertical mesh coil inside here. They hold 2 mLs of liquid. Now, the other pod you'll get is a 0.8 ohm mesh, and it is marked in red. See how this one's black? Okay, I'm already using the 0.8 ohm in my other device, so we're going to try out the 1.2 ohm. So this is top fill. You just kind of bend it over to one side, and there is what it looks like. You want to fill up over there where your little rubber membrane is, and then you have an air release hole right there, and you can see the coil down inside there. And both of these are a mesh coil. So let's go ahead and fill it on up. Do a little tilty action that way. When done, just put the cap back on like so. Very, very comfortable mouthpiece on this thing. It's kind of, that duckbill mouthpiece, but it's pretty thin. Feels nice. I like it in my mouth. So I tend to like the tighter draw on this. So what I'm going to do is look for that little indentation there. I'm going to see that my airflow hole is right there, and I'm going to put this so the indentation is away from the airflow. But of course, if you like looser airflow, you just flip it around and do that. All right. The pods do feel nice and secure in there. They're a press fit. And now with that little light indicator right there, it does go from green to blue to red, depending on where your battery level is at. So as far as size comparisons go, here it is next to a Caliburn G. It's quite a bit shorter than the Caliburn G and has a bigger battery, but it is a little bit thicker, as you can see, and looks to be a little bit wider as well, right? Yeah, a little bit wider. Weight-wise, they're not that much different. This feels slightly heavier, probably because it has zinc alloy on it, but it's not super heavy. It doesn't feel like the whole thing's made out of zinc alloy, just this frame. And here is the other one I've been using. All right, guys, that is it for the up close. Let's go ahead, go up top, vape these, and talk about them a little more. All right, here's the Luxe Q from Vaporesso. We're going to start out with the 0.8 ohm pod. I have it on the tighter airflow setting, 12 milligram e-liquid. Here we go. Medium, bordering on loose MTL draw. So compared to the Caliburn G on the tighter airflow setting, here we go. The Caliburn G is definitely a little bit tighter. Now, let me go ahead and flip the pod around. And here it is on the looser airflow setting. It's noticeable, but not as drastic of a difference between like the Caliburn G's tighter airflow and looser airflow. But I definitely prefer this on the tighter setting. You can still get a nice mouth to lung draw. Just wish it was a tiny, tiny bit tighter. Still very satisfying though. I could vape this thing all day. I'm just used to that tight draw on the Caliburn G. But I would still probably classify it as a medium mouth to lung draw. Now, this one has the 1.2 ohm coil on the tighter airflow setting. Here we go. Very, very nice, but a lot cooler of a vape because it is 1.2 ohms. This 1.2 ohm pod would be perfect for those folks that use high nicotine salts, the people that like a little bit cooler vape. I use 12 milligram freebase nicotine. I like a warmer vape, so this 0.8 ohm is right up my alley. Very, very nice. Now, going into pros and cons. Cons first. First off, like I said, I do wish the airflow got just a little bit tighter on the tighter airflow setting. Now, I can get used to this. It's still a medium MTL. It's still satisfying, and everybody's different with the draws. But for me personally, I would have liked it if it just got a little bit tighter. It's a noticeable difference when you go over to the looser setting, but not a ton. That's really my only con. There's a lot of pros here. First off, that 1000 milliamp hour battery. And it feels smaller in the hand than a Caliburn G does. Yes, the Caliburn G is not as wide this way, but it is longer. And so the fact that you haven't even, what is this, 800 milliamp hours, I think? This is 1,000. The fact that they were able to get a 1,000 milliamp hour battery in this thing is very, very impressive. Build quality on it is fantastic. I love the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece is definitely more comfortable than the Caliburn G's mouthpiece, in my opinion. A little bit thinner, a little bit more shaped for your mouth hole. I really dig it. USB-C is definitely a plus. It is a plus that it does have 2 steps of airflow control. And I think it's nice looking. You know, I'm not crazy about this like turquoise colored one, but this black one's right up my alley. It looks classy. You got a lot of battery life. Might even last you all day depending on how much you vape. So all in all, I think it's a winner. One other thing though, I forgot to mention in the con category, I do kind of wish that you were able to replace the coils in this as opposed to having to replace the whole pod. Also, I like that this doesn't have a button on it. I used to be more of a button firer even with pod systems, but I'm so used to the draw activation now, and it's gotten so much better on these newer gen pod systems that I rarely use the button on this thing, but I always find that I have to turn it off if I put it in my pocket because, you know, something will push up against it in my pocket and it'll start firing. So I like that this doesn't have a button on it. The draw activation works fantastic on it. So all in all, very, very nice device. It competes well with the Caliburn G. Like I said, the one con I have is I wish the airflow got just a tad tighter because, you know, I'm used to that Caliburn G draw. Definitely one I'm going to continue to use, and I am going to buy more of the 0.8 ohm pods. 1.2 ohm pods are a little bit too cool for me, but like I said, they're more for the salt users. Like if you're using a 25 milligram salt or something like that, I think the 1.2 ohms will be more to your liking. So I think that's it, guys. It is going to come in a few different color varieties. I think it's going to be around 30, 35 bucks. Let's end it there, folks. That about wraps it up. Until next time, thanks for watching. Suck my mod.